Can I do that? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to stay that way because I can see you. At the same time, it's better for me. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about make a small introduction about the frame of the project, about the Ramerupt. So first, Ramerupt is developing in the region of Aube, which is the former medieval Champagne in northeast France. It's an old area where the Count of Champagne were very, very famous from the 10th to the 14th century in medieval times. And there was born this famous great Jewish intellectual Rabbi Rashi in the 11th century. And the problem is that Aube region is dealing with a universal Jewish heritage, but totally intangible heritage. We are talking here about Rashi, but we are also talking about his disciples, the Tosafists, who are also from the 10th to the 13th centuries, great biblical and Talmudic commentators, and they still all make reference today everywhere in the world in Jewish communities. So this heritage was able to emerge in 2017 with a private initiative from Troyes synagogue. Troyes is the main city of Aube, and they organized and they developed a permanent exhibition inside the synagogue, a very, very famous immersive exhibition about Rashi and the Tosafists. And since 2019, the Aube region was recognized and included into the European Route of Jewish Heritage with a project called the Medieval Route of Rashi in Champagne. And it's carried out by Aube Tourism Agency. This project, this Rashi route, consecrates the recognition of the place of Rashi, of course, in medieval history. And it also intends to place Rashi and the Jewish communities of Champagne in the context of the medieval society to enlighten this page of history in the territories that was forgotten. And this is very important because we usually speak, you're in Spain, and we usually speak a lot of figures like Maimonides in Spain, but Rashi is known by Jewish people, but is not known at all by French people. So the job here is really to enlighten this character. So we have with this route we have many tourism opportunities. Because this heritage is shared by all Jews around the world, but it's also an historical heritage of this territory, but also of France, as you will understand, because first in Aube territory, 25 villages and cities are concerned by this heritage, which means that they had Jewish communities in medieval times inside all these small villages. The main villages that we are talking about are, except Troyes, which is here exactly in the middle of the map, are Ramerupt and Dampierre, and another one next to them called Lhuitre. Because the Tosafist school, which means the Rashi disciples, was created there in these villages, and their commentaries are also printed today since the 16th century with Rashi's commentary in all Talmud edition. Going just to show you what the Talmud looks like for those who never saw a Talmud until now. Here you have in the center the law, the Mishnah. Inside the pages you have Rashi's commentary, and outside the pages, outside the main the Mishnah and the Gemara, which are inside in the middle, you have the Tosafist commentaries. Except Rashi and the Tosafist, no other Talmud commentators were never printed inside the Talmud editions until today. So they are known everywhere in the world and studied everywhere in the world. So this is a map of former Tosafist Jewish schools in North France, Ashkenaz, and England from the 12th and 13th century. As you see, their schools spread all over Europe very, very easily, very quickly in the 12th and 13th century. And the route is for the Aube region is a part of the authenticity tourism, which relies on Aube tangible and intangible, but also cultural and natural heritage assets. And it's meeting all other kind of subjects or topics of interest, like the Templar story that also were born here, and the Cistercians abbeys that also were born here. So Rashi and the Tosafists, they were in a special intellectual environment with people like, maybe you don't know them, but Ansel of Canterbury, but also Bernard de Clairvaux was a very, very famous founder of Cistercian Abbey, Chrétien de Troyes, who is the first writer in French with the stories of Arthur the King in the medieval times. So this is a very big frame of different opportunities to meet and to make different heritage, medieval heritage, and meet and facing each other to have to benefit from medieval from tourism opportunities. So we are trying to develop slow tourism in Aube region, independently from the Rashi route. But as you see, the projects that are emerging from the Rashi route are also a trend to help to focus on slow tourism. So what is the role of the Aube Tourism Agency regarding to the Rashi route project? We are proactive in terms of project creation based on the 5 criteria of the Council of Europe, as you know. We try to federate the stakeholders and create a regional dynamic. We support the projects of the steering committee members through the expertise of our scientific committee. And we sustain the development of the different actors project in terms of engineering. And so the issue we are facing in these projects are that the implementation of the route actions is always specific due to its purely intangible and literary Jewish medieval local heritage. So any animation, any action project is always thought as a project, an original project ex nihilo project that makes it possible, that have to make it possible to see, to touch, and to live differently. So this is the example of the Frescoes project I'm going to tell you about. Just to make you understand a bit more, I'm going just to show you some pictures of Ramerupt and Dampierre. So in Dampierre, we have a medieval castle left, but nothing left about Jewish heritage. Ramerupt, nothing at all. And still, they are the best places where we should organize or make the Jewish heritage emerge. So it's quite difficult. We have a lot of information about their writings. For example, here, one of our scientific committee member, Pinchas Roth, edited last year the letters from Rabbi Isaac from Dampierre, who is the great grandson of Rashi. And this is one of the first time that this kind of projects is written and is able to be read by a large audience. So it's in Hebrew, so I don't know if a lot of people in Troyes will be able, or in Aube will be able to read it, but at least we think that this work can be translated one day. The Fresco project is carried out by the Communauté de Communes Arcis-Mailly-Ramerupt, is one of the steering committee member. It's a group of municipalities that is standing in the north of Aube territory. And it's a new cultural action which is aiming to tell the history of former Jewish communities through art and locals' involvement, as you're going to understand. The idea is to organize with the Communauté de Communes and all the partners that you can see here, the Aube Tourism Agency, and all kind of association, an association working on the Frescoes, and schools and all the local associations. We are aiming to develop a touristic and artistic circuit project through villages of Aube around Frescoes, with a storytelling which is going to meet Jewish history and local medieval history. So how did it happen? First, first meeting was organized in May 2021, and we launched a call for artists in October 2021, and we selected three artists here: Jean-Philippe Ledy, Javier de Sierra Salaberry, and Jean-Jacques Jolinon, and each one of them had presented a sketch of a storytelling that was responding to our will, and we wanted in each fresco that the drawing narrative reveal both what we know about Jewish heritage in these villages, if possible, and also local medieval history. So of course we're going to they worked on Rashi figures, but also the Tosafist characters, Rashi's daughters, grandsons, but also the Count of Champagne of medieval time, and other major local figures. So we also wanted medieval work and professions, landscape and agriculture, former castles and villages to appear on the frescoes. So they organized, each one organized a drawing, and so I'm going to show it to you. If possible, voila. Each one organized a drawing, and with different elements, historical elements. These elements are supervised by our scientific committee, but of course it's an artistic project, so it can say or represent things that never really happened, but happened in an intellectual way. For example, here in the middle, you have an intellectual encounter between Rabbeinu Tam, who is Rashi's grandson, and the Count of Champagne. They really met. They met, of course, but they never met in that place. But they met in an intellectual way as they discussed about biblical issues and point of interest. So of course it will always stay and be an artistic project first, but we are trying to make it as more as possible, as close to the historical facts. So the first fresco will be created with the Fresco Association on in May 2022, The second one in Ramerupt, this will be in Dampierre, the village of Dampierre. The second one in Ramerupt will be is planned for spring 2023, and the last one in Lhuitre will be ready in 2024. So what is interesting is that in that project is that we also want to write on each fresco, to have on each fresco to have a link which will be related to the notion of writing, the notion of book. And on each fresco, we ask the artists to write in French and in Hebrew, because you will understand why, to write a biblical or Talmudic commentary or responsa related to local daily life. A response. So these writings will really be writings that we were transmitted to us from Rashi or from the Tosafists. So we will also write some old words, old French words that we can discover in their writings. Why? Because these people, these Jewish communities in France in medieval times, they were speaking Old French in their daily life. They were not speaking Hebrew. And sometimes, many times, I would say, in their commentaries, to be more easily understood by their disciples or their people who read them, their readers, they were introducing old French words from daily life, like animals. So I'm going to show you here. Animals or food or tools. Like here, for example, you have the word in pink. You have the word tortil, which is, you can read it in Old French tortel, and it means cake. Here you have the word porels, which means in French today puerro en español. Puerro, no sé cómo se dice en inglés. Here you have the word vadil. Vadil is un cubo para limpiar. Here you have the word kalfsoritz. Kalfsoritz is the word for bat, a bat. And here you have an expression, the expression chut. As you know, all French people say chut, and everyone in the world. So Rashi tells us that this word was already used in the 11th century, because he writes it and he explains in his commentaries that it's a word that means to ask people to stop talking. Well, so we also wanted in these drawings to show that these people were real French people, real Champenois area locals, inhabitants, and but also wise men that were writing in Hebrew, and these Hebrew words were transcribed in Hebrew letters, of course, because they didn't know how to write Latin. So this will be the link between all the frescoes. This project is very interesting because the territory of Northern Aube, who is involved in this project for the moment, the three first villages we were talking about, is quite landlocked, and it has a very low value of its historical and rural heritage, unlike the rest of Aube region. And the three villages will really benefit from the project impact. As you can see here, they have quite a good press. Many press articles were written about the project. So the Fresco project enhances their historical heritage and will allow them to benefit from a permanent artistic and cultural installation on a wall, an external wall in a big frame, because it will be 4 meters on 3 meters, I think, each fresco. And it will, most important, it will gather people from the village around a unifying project. So it's also a social challenge. This fresco is really a social challenge for these 3 villages. Around this project, it will make it possible to sensitize their inhabitants about this heritage that they don't remember, they don't know about, and it will bring them together with the tourist audience, of course, around a collective work of art and workshops. As you will understand, we want this project to promote an intellectual openness and critical thinking, and to give the inhabitants the opportunity to get involved in an enriching and aesthetic co-creation. So it's really highly inclusive, and it tends to develop awareness and curiosity of the inhabitants, and to fight against anti-Semitism. So a schedule of actions with a large audience and schools was organized since last summer. As you can see here, I was guided people next to the castle of Dampierre to explain to them who was Rabbi Isaac of Dampierre, and to try to, and we had 70 people participating to the tour, but also to other lectures that were given about the Jewish heritage. And we are preparing them to accept and to work on the fresco project in that way. So this project is really built, for me, is really built about the notion of transmission. First, the transmission of a common history that was forgotten, but it's a common history, and it's a meaningful encounter that was real, and that was testified between Jews and Christians, because at that time they were living together. There was no difference. There were no ghetto. There was no difference in the way in the clothes, and there was no difference in the professions until the 13th century. So it's important to explain and to see on the walls of the villages that people were living together, and this is what the fresco want to explain. And the other notion of transmission is about the transmission of the art of the fresco through the involvement of the inhabitants. The Fresco Association will organize soon, next month, discovery workshops, introductory courses to the fresco, and the students, locals, inhabitants will participate to these workshops. And the goal is to involve them in artistic creation that will enhance, at the end, the place where they live, and will strengthen their sense of pride and their identity, while it allows us also to value this specific Jewish heritage, and also to fight against anti-Semitism. So I also organized since January artistic and cultural workshops for schools, non-Jewish schools. So it means local schools in Ramerupt, for example, with all the pupils from age 2:30 to 10. And I taught them who was Rashi, who were the Tosafis, what is Hebrew, what is this Jewish culture, and I was working in collaboration with an artist that you can see here, and the session was aiming to prepare children to meet the the fresco artists later on, and to work with them on other projects when the fresco will be ready in May. And so they know now what is Hebrew alphabet, and they understand that this heritage is their heritage because it was taking place in their villages. So it's these are very important points, and I think it's nice because all the partners are really ready to have this open-minded attitude, and to accept to read and to understand the history differently. I mean, in a way that they were never talking about before. So it's really interesting. And the fresco project, we hope that later on we will be able to go on with the storytelling with the other villages, as I show you at the beginning. So I didn't mention here all the villages, but as you can see, many villages are related to this heritage, and we could have around 20 other villages or cities of the region that could potentially integrate the project by hosting a narration painted on fresco in their external walls later. So this project is free, of course, for the public, for the local audience, and it will also meet the expectations of the tourists, because except in Aube territory, many tourists come to learn and to see and to understand about Rashi and the Tosafists, but as it is an intangible heritage, of course, except the synagogue and the exhibition, the permanent exhibition about Rashi, the Rashi's house, nothing exists. So this will be a good, very, very good point to make tourism possible, for another tourism opportunity, and to help visitors to make a stroll around all the region and discover the other richness and wealth of our region, like champagne and nature and all and cultural heritage through our Jewish heritage. So I do hope I was not too long. I just wanted to tell you that we are meeting here with this project. We developed many projects, but in this one, according to me, we are really meeting the 5 criteria of the Council of Europe in the creation of European route, scientific project, but also artistic project, educational project, enhancement of the memory and history and heritage, and the 5th one, tourism, cultural tourism. And I think you agree. And but for us, what it was important, it was to create a global storytelling on the territory, to open up opportunities for some part of the territory, like the north of the territory, which is not really a touristic, which has not a lot of touristic attraction, to promote and transmit the Jewish memory and the life of the people in Champagne in Middle Ages through this Jewish heritage. Of course, to promote the figures of Jewish characters, and to contribute to fight against racism and anti-Semitism prejudices. Well, this intangible, we wanted to make this intangible heritage more concrete. We thought since the beginning that we wanted to make signs, touristic signs in the villages, and at the end, we won't do it. And the fresco project will be, it is a good alternative to just a formal sign, we think. Well, so this is the end of my presentation. I'm here to answer your questions if necessary. I hope I was not too long. I can't hear you. I can't see you neither.
Okay. Thank you so much, Delphine.
Yes.
Are there any questions? Do you have a question? No? It's okay? Okay, Delphine, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure to meet you. And...
Alicia.
Y nada, muchísimas gracias por todo, ¿vale, Delphine?
Vale, de nada, con mucho placer. Me hubiera gustado venir, pero así es.
Sí, hubiera estado muy bien.
Gracias.
Para la siguiente.
Exactamente. Well, so thank you.
Okay.
You're going on with the lectures?
Yes, this is our last online lecture.
Okay.
So we have to stop.
¿Cómo se para
la grabación? Sí,
okay,
we have to stop.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all the people who are online with us. But we have to stop the speech. But don't worry, we have to record all the workshop, all the lectures. So you have available at the end of the project in our website. Okay.
Okay. Goodbye.
Thank you, Carolina, Patrick, Delphine. Bye bye.
Adiós. Bye.
¿Cómo paro la grabación aquí? ¿La detengo directamente? No se pierde, ¿no? No.